Welcome to the Kirkpatrick Podcast, bridging traditions and trends in learning and performance evaluation. Whether you're a seasoned learning professional or just starting out, join us as we dive into the Kirkpatrick model like never before. Through stories and insights, we are fusing time-honored methods with cutting-edge innovations to help you navigate the ever-evolving world of learning and performance evaluation. Hi, friends. How are you? It is Vanessa and Jim, and we are back with the Kirkpatrick Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing today, Jim?
I'm good. I'm excited about having another day with our friends.
Yes, episode 3. And today we're going to be talking all about protecting and leveraging your training investment. Jim, what does that mean to you?
It means that we have to be focusing on the things that we haven't been focusing on and spend less time focusing on the training is really what it means, because I think people are wise enough and experienced enough to know that if we just train somebody and send them back to their workplace or their home or whatever, it's not very likely that they're going to actually apply what they learned. It's just human nature, and we've got to kind of turn the tables on that and flip it.
Oh, I do love a good flipping a table moment. I am from New Jersey, and we do like to flip a table. Did you actually know that they say that the majority of training and learning resources that are used in, let's say, traditional training actually results in about 85% hitting the ground completely unused?
I'm aware of that. Yes, all too aware of it. Keeps me up at night.
It's amazing how much people, how much content we're always looking to churn out. And then not a ton of people really actually take the time to review and invest in it. It makes you wonder why we are spending so much time on the content when we could be, working on other things that could really actually impact the business.
Well, I've wondered it a lot too. And I think I've kind of come up with the answers, that it's easier to do, the training and the learning because you've got technology to do it, and you can do your smile sheets and you can do your knowledge testing, and that's a lot easier than dealing with the workplace.
Oh yeah, I also have a spicy take on it as well. And my spicy take is that I think we're so, not going to use the word brainwashed, but we're so conditioned from minimum 12 years in a school type of environment to learn, that we assume that as adults, we're going to learn in the same way. And so that's why people always go back to, we've got to train them, we've got to teach them in order to change their behavior. But in all actuality, it's not really how adults are going to learn and to grow.
That's exactly right. But even our vendors, a lot of the vendors are continuing to try and push learning in all kinds of different ways and call it different things. It's upskilling and continue to try and sell us the shiny new object that has to do with training and learning, and very little seems to be talked about regarding performance and results.
Absolutely. So knowing that we have about 85% of learning resources not actually being utilized, what are some of the wrong ways that we could be, that we're allocating our resources so that we know what to look out for?
Well, one thing to look out for is if you are continually calling yourself training professionals or learning consultants, because the training and the learning is absolutely necessary, but it's inefficient and not powerful enough to get the performance done. So watch out for our language, that we are continually calling ourselves things and talking about learning journeys, that the business, both the tactical, senior leaders and so forth, and the line managers, that it really doesn't resonate with them. All they hear is cost center. So one thing we've got to think about is using the wrong language that is separating us from the business. And the other is watch out if you're spending all your time on designing and developing and delivering formal training, because as you said, Vanessa, people don't really learn that way, or they may say, "Oh, I get it now." But when they get back to their job, that it really hits the ground, as you're saying. And then finally, we've got to make sure that there's somebody on the other side that we can hand it off to and spend time with to make sure the focus is on the performance of what they learn, rather than hoping that somehow the magic will happen without it.
Yeah. So have you ever seen this before where you've had a customer or a colleague that has gone about things the wrong ways, thinking that it was the right way?
No, I've never seen that.
Never,
No,
never once. Me either.
actually, I have. And if we have a little time, I'll tell an example of that. We work with a national fitness center chain that came to us with a problem, and this time of the year, it's really germane that in November and December, they trained their salespeople to bring in as many memberships as they possibly could, and they were relying on holiday gifts and New Year's resolutions, and they trained them to do that, and they actually did bring in that, but not so much because of the training, but because it was a time of the year. And guess what happened in January? All these memberships, people went during January, and they filled up the fitness centers, overflowing. But then in February, the New Year's resolutions fizzled away, and the commitment fizzled away, and then they really weren't getting much going from February on. So I'll just leave that for now. But they came to us saying, we want sustained revenue during the year, rather than it all piling up at the end of the year and then struggling the next 8 or 9 months.
That is so timely of you to share, as I have been thinking about 2024 and my own New Year's resolutions. I'm not going to lie, trying a new workout was actually on there. So I'm excited for the end of that story. So now that we know, kind of a little bit of the wrong ways and what you've kind of seen folks do that maybe isn't exactly the best way to protect their investment. What are some recommendations that you have to actually allocate your resources and your time effectively and efficiently in your business?
Well, the first way is to make sure you are talking to senior leaders who actually control a budget to fess up and say, you know what, we've been getting tremendous training budgets, and I know that it's getting tighter and tighter every year. But what we plan to do going forward is to make sure that the budget that you do provide us, we are going to protect it by making sure that there are people and resources and technology on the other side of the bridge, the performance bridge, that will say, welcome back from training. Now we are here to help you. And one of the best ways is to have peer support and using technology to make sure that the memory of what they learned doesn't fade, and the inspiration to perform their job different doesn't fade. And the key there is setting up what we call required driver package, which is the support and the accountability on the other side, not for every program, but for the ones that are truly mission critical, to make sure it doesn't hit the ground. And you don't wait 90 days to find out how's it going out there, or 60 days, or even 30 days. But for the most important ones, what people have learned to do on day one, there is some kind of observation, some kind of accountability, a touch base, team meeting, something that says, oh, we're serious about this, and they're serious about it. I guess we'd better do what we're supposed to do.
Now, can you share with me a little bit more about your thought around the time that it takes in order to do things like this? So it's one of the things that I hear often is, yes, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. I would love to be able to do that. And, our managers are already have a lot on their plates, other of our employees are doing 2 jobs or 3 jobs, not just one. And, we just can't add another thing to their plate. How do you battle that?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to turn on the air conditioner here because I'm getting hot under the collar, what you're saying, and it's upsetting me, but it's true. And along with that, they say, level 3, which is what we're talking about here, the behaviors, is too expensive and it's too difficult. You know how expensive it is to spend weeks and weeks on instructional design and delivering the training and having people leave their business and go to your centers to attend the training. It's super expensive, way more expensive than level 3. So that's an excuse we need to wipe off the map. But the truth of it is how expensive is it for line managers or graduates from training or super peers, whatever you want to call them, to just sit with someone either virtually or in reality and saying, hey, how's it going? Show me how you're doing this, and let me just see what's going on here. Or to say, you seem to be struggling a little bit. Let's talk it through. Or here's some job aids that I think will help you. Or even better, videos, where somebody gets lost and they can't remember what they learned. They can't remember what they were trained, but they can turn to a little video like YouTube and say, oh, great. Now that reminds me what I need to do. Level 3 is not the most expensive. It's just the one that people are mostly afraid of and used to doing the easier level 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're talking about supporting with job aids and videos. It makes me think I was recently at like a doctor's office or something like that. And there were all these posters reminding all of the medical assistants of what they have to do, or all these reminders. And I was just looking at it because I can't look at anything in any other context other than learning. Like you can't look at anything other than the 4 levels. But I was like, this is actually great learning. And I think of how a senior leader maybe at one point would say, if they were having an issue with people putting away their tools or doing something properly, we have to train them. And really all you need is a simple reminder on the wall. And when you really look at the environment, so many patients are coming in. If it's colds and flu season, you're like seeing triple the patients. A lot of things are happening. You're trying to do your notes, remember this, your pager is going off. A lot of things are happening. That's easy to forget certain things. It's not a training issue. It's just, they just need a little bit of additional support, but you won't know that if you don't actually have the conversation with your employee.
Oh, what do you mean by that, Vanessa?
Actually having a conversation.
Yeah.
Something that people don't like to do. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge phone gal all the time, but I do miss you just having a conversation with the team. And that's why it's so integral to me at KP and at Anchored that we have conversations, with our employees, our consultants, our customers, because a lot of things get lost in translation, or you're not able to see through text or email or by a survey the entire kind of what's happening, what's the entire holistic view as to, why someone may be struggling with someone. When you have a conversation or you're able to observe them, you're really able to see exactly what's happening around to make a better recommendation. So that way you're actually, instead of pushing out so much content, you're still going to get the budget. You're just going to reallocate the budget in different ways. It's not about less money that's in the learning and development or the learning center. It's about how can we reallocate this so that it's more focused on performance solutions, in my opinion.
And your opinion sounds pretty good. And I'm going to use you and me as an example of this, that, we don't exactly have formal times that we're going to meet every few days, but we meet several times a week. And the spirit from you, the new boss here, is not what are you doing wrong that I need to correct you in, but how are things going? What's working? What can we learn from you, Jim? And what are you struggling with? And that personal touch, because you say, I'm not going to lie to you. Well, I'm not going to lie to you either, because I tend to drift off my own way and what's familiar and what's comfortable for me. And I am human, just like all the other people we work with. And that's what human nature does. It drifts off and do what's familiar and comfortable, and change is difficult. But when you and I talk, I'm reminded, oh yeah, that's the course we're on now. Those are the things that we need to be doing. And then you're very clear, you and your staff, about, Jim, this is what we need you to do in order to help move us ahead to Kirkpatrick 3.0 is what we call it. So, and then you know what else it does? It helps me trust you, Vanessa. and trust that you have the company's best interest, you have my best interest. And that is what those conversations do. And I think you'll find that when you spend time or you recruit line managers and supervisors and graduates who are doing well on their job, to partner with those people and to help them, if they get stuck, congratulate them, we're doing well. That creates trust, that creates a value, and that is really the future. And that's what the New World Kirkpatrick is about, those relationship driving performance and results, because the results won't come without the performance.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for the kind words. I think,
They're true.
thank you. I'll pay you later. So I think one of the things that, we talk about is, what can organizations gain from doing these things? And I think you just summed it up so beautifully. Having that trust with your employees, you know what I mean? And building that culture. Culture is also a really big deal, right? It's a big conversation piece. It's a big, a strategic initiative for so many organizations. They want to make sure that they protect their culture, and they want it to be a culture that attracts, the best employees and that keeps the best employees. Well, in order to do that, trust has to be really the foundation of that. And so we're talking about here, and having those conversations, reaching out and really taking the time to get to know the employees and what they actually need.
Yeah.
That's where that culture starts to come. And that's where, all of that innovation and change and what people are really striving for, go towards. It's not going to be some, you know, we love our vendors, we love our tools,
Right.
we love all the things.
Right.
They are wonderful, but there's no silver bullet, right? There's no magic thing that you're going to deploy that is going to build a great culture. It's good old fashioned trust. It's been around for tale as old as time, and that's really where we get that started.
And you know what else about that, Vanessa? I think you asked about benefits to this. One is when you are retaining employees, their confidence grows and they take more initiative. And the customers, the patients, the clients, the citizens, whoever are benefiting from that, rather than just going through the revolving door of new people all the time. And
Mhm.
those relationships create value for those people. And you know what? The key here are the ultimate senior leaders, the ones who are releasing the budget, and what they're going to see when you pull this off, and you learn from us, or yourself, how to demonstrate this value, this contribution that the employees and all this good work is being done. You're going to get an increased budget rather than a budget cut, because what you've done is you have protected the senior leader's investment in training and
Mhm.
learning by making sure someone's on the other side to say, okay, let's really get to work. But it also leverages success, because as you continue with that accountability and support, there's more and more success. So it not only stops it from hitting the ground, but it leverages success, and senior leaders will get that. And they love that argument. Great, protect our training investment because we know so much of it dissipates. That's the ultimate benefit. And then with the fitness center I mentioned, the ultimate benefit was they decided, rather than just trying to focus on money and getting memberships, they decided to focus on the people that actually came. And what they did with them is they helped set up courses where they had partners, where they had job aids, where they were teaching them how to monitor their weight loss or their strength. And they just had so many different things that kept people coming, rather than they just fade away because they just felt like nobody cares there. They want my money. And so that's the positive story there. That fitness center now has much steadier income throughout the year because they're renewing their memberships and getting their friends to do it, because they focus on the clients, not just on the membership. And that's made all the difference.
Would you say that they focus on my favorite thing, the experience?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, really, it's so true. I was just sharing yesterday. I went to the True Space. I think it might have been with you, the True Space Development Center last week, and I was there for 2-day intensive, and it was beyond what I learned, which was wonderful. It was the entire experience. I walked in. I had an office, so I didn't have to worry about work and where was I going to plug my computer in, or they had a phone charger for me. They had little candies, they had a mint, they had breakfast, nonstop coffee, which for me is what I always need.
Okay.
Um, at my desk, they had water, and on the breaks, as soon as we broke, someone was coming to refill it, and doing all of these little things and making sure they were checking in on me. That experience, that's going to keep me for the long haul, because that's someone that shows that they cared.
Yeah.
It's something that we don't, there's nothing distracting me from what I have to do. So those little touches, yeah, we're always worried about getting butts in seats, and getting that initial training out, but it's really that continuation, where you'll actually see the change. And so that's what needs to be focused on, not that beginning investment. So I love your story. It's so timely for this
Oh,
new year. I will, I have a gym in my
okay.
house, but but maybe I'll join a new gym, and I'll be thinking of you and this, and if their experience, and I'll have to follow up with you and see if I retain to be a member.
Well, let me ask you, do I have your permission to check back with you once in a while and see how it's going?
You have permission to check in with me whenever you want.
Okay. And you won't get mad at me and fire me if I bug you too much?
Nah, nah, I
Okay.
like you.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to share with the audience about how to protect their training investment before we close today?
The thing I'd like to share is we don't just turn on the camera and do our episodes here and our podcasts and then go back to work. This is who we are, and neither of us and none of us think we deserve a medal for it. That's what I think we're supposed to do with each other, is just giving them authentic, genuine truth. We're not just trying to make you feel good. We're trying to give you truth about what's
Mhm.
working and what's wasting your time and your effort. And if you reach out to us in any number of ways, you're going to get the same thing when we talk to you one-on-one as we do to the whole group of people we're talking to, just so you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Authenticity and truth telling, that's definitely
Yeah.
a very a core part of KP. Well, Jim, thank you so much for spending your day with me, or your afternoon with me. Friends, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe, to listen to our upcoming episodes. And we are so excited to continue, to share more about the model. And very soon we'll have some wonderful guests that you can hear more from.
Oh, yes.
Um, yes, at work we talked to one yesterday. He was pretty good.
He's raring
So
to go. That's
he
right.
is. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.